B.
Yes.
N.
Wake up, everybody, because it is time to go over the Inside Xbox Series X gameplay presentation. I'm Banner SN, and we are going to take I wouldn't call it a deep dive, but a very below surface level dive over what was shown at the Inside Xbox conference today, and take a look at, what was advertised in this presentation and what was actually shown, and whether or not things kind of lined up to the expectations that were set and whatnot. I just kind of wanted to go over the games themselves individually, take each thing one at a time, and really see whether or not the reactions to the presentation are warranted, justified, if there was gameplay shown, whether or not there wasn't gameplay shown. A lot of people complaining like, oh, there wasn't any gameplay, there was just in-game cinematics shown. What was this game? What was that game? Nothing stuck out. Why did they do this? Whatnot. I'm not here to make any accusations against Xbox or people making the complaints. I'm just here to take a look at things and make my own opinion. Let you guys make your own opinion. But let's get started. It's over here. I've got the presentation right over here. We're going to take a look at it, scrub through it, just take a look at some things. But first, I wanted to go over the conference as a whole, because I wanted to actually give a lot of props to Microsoft for the format that they did this in. This was actually a really good format for essentially what they could do. Obviously, everyone's working from home, so they can't really do a big, nice presentation, and even graphically, it's hard to do that kind of thing. But overall, this was really nice. There was a lot of good transitions. They kept the developer talking points to be as short as possible as needed. Obviously, they have that deep dive at the end, which is actually really smart. I wasn't really listening to it during my actual reaction videos, which you can watch now on youtube.com/bannersn. But they pushed all the developer talk to the end, so if there was a game you were interested in, there was a chance that they were going to deep dive at the very end, which was very nice. And they just kind of went game to game to game to game, which is a very good presentation. Overall, the presentation in the conference was very good. And even I want to say, all the games they showed looked good. Not a single stinker in the bunch. Just a lot of what I would say AA games that had an identity crisis, where you take a look at the trailer, the name, the developer, not exactly well known, not a lot of them. Obviously, there was Sega, there was Bandai, there was Ubisoft, even Codemasters doing Dirt 5 is pretty well known. Dirt is an obviously well known series. Even that vampire game, people have seen that for a long time. But for the most part, the games they showed were from unknown studios, and I feel like that is kind of gets into the identity problem that I'm talking about, where you can show off this CG trailer or an in-game cinematic trailer, but if your game is, let's say, Chorus, which I want to call it Chorus because it looks like Chorus, a game like Chorus, where you kind of understand what it is, some sort of weird psychedelic space game, but do you really understand what this game is? Do you have any confidence in the developer, whether they're not going to put out a good product? That's kind of what we want to go into. We're going to look at all the developers here and really understand who they are, what they've done before, and whether or not this is something to actually be excited for or something to optimistically wait patiently to see more information on. So above all, I think the presentation was fairly good as far as the presentation, and the games shown seemed to be of fairly decent quality. Nothing's felt like why this? Except for maybe the Madden portion, because that is just Madden, but they didn't stick on that for too long, so it wasn't a big deal. Now, I think we should start with, obviously, the very beginning of the presentation, which they opened with a game called, let's skip through this. I'm going to do a little bit of scrubbing. A game they actually have a bit of opinions on. They started off the conference with, I forget the guy's name. The guy's name is, let's see if it loads, Aaron Greenberg, and the Xbox Series X refrigerator behind him. Very well played, good joke, sets up the tone of this thing that it's going to be very casual, very fun. It's a good showing. This first game is called Bright Memory Infinite, and it is developed by Chinese developer FYQD, Jensen Huang, and his studio FYQD. It's a game that's been sort of out already on Steam in different formats, and I believe on mobile. Maybe that's just in China, but it's a game that kind of has this kind of randomness to it. It looks really cool. A lot of the wind and rain effects are very impressive, and it's apparently made by one developer, which I kind of question. It seems like this would be impossible for one developer, and so I don't exactly believe that. But this game ran into some controversy throughout the years of it being presented, in which the developer admitted to taking art assets from other games. I believe the games mentioned were things like Dark Souls, things like Bulletstorm, and you can kind of tell with the mismatch of gameplay styles here. You have a lot of shooting, you have a lot of parkour, you have some samurai sword gameplay, and you have a DeLorean, which is very random. And this game just seems like a lot of throwing at the wall, almost a very tech demo-y, but it seems like Xbox is doing a lot of investment into Chinese games, which, you know, if you can find a good game there, that's awesome. But as far as Xbox's audience, I'm not sure that really connects with them as well, or other people abroad. The game looks cool, and my two buddies on my reaction videos did point to this game as their most excited game, but I'm a little concerned with this one to be exactly what it's advertised as. So this one's a little bit weird, but it was full gameplay trailer. This was gameplay. Just because there was no HUD, does not mean there's no gameplay. We're going to take a look at a little bit of this. So yeah, you can see the shooting stuff. This game is known for having that little ammo count on the side of the gun, which reminds me of Crysis. Did Crysis have that? I'm not 100% sure. There's the parkour access. This rain effects is really amazing, but I feel like it's just kind of, there's not a ton of logic going into it. It just seems like it's all flowing through without much real focus on individual spots. Like if you're hiding behind a wall, it just seems like you're still getting that same effect. You're in the DeLorean now against a tank. Makes not really any sense. It seems like there's a lot of just things going on. Maybe the bright memory thing is the reason for that. It's supposed to be kind of like a, oh, what was it, Andrew? Ready Player One 5. Let me pause this. So yeah, that's the first thing. It's kind of a weird thing. I wouldn't exactly be super excited for that. I would definitely wait for reviews on this one. Next game they showed off was Dirt 5, and I don't really even need to go over this game. It's Dirt. If you like that sort of racing style, that arcadey racer, you know, different vehicles, cool environments, it's gonna look good. It's gonna run good. I'm sure it's gonna be a good time. Codemasters developing it. That's a known studio for the Dirt franchise. And yeah, I think there's not really much to say about Dirt. It's kind of its own thing. If you like racing games, I'm sure that's going to be exciting for you. Although I'm sure if you're an Xbox fan, you're looking more towards Forza Motorsport or Forza Horizon, which I'm sure is coming in July. I would be very shocked if Forza, I'm pretty sure Motorsport, the next Motorsport game, isn't coming in July. That'd be a big miss for them. Next game we're going to talk about is the Alien horror game. What was this one called? I'm sorry, I should actually have this. One is called Scorn. Now, Scorn is developed by Ebb Software. It is coming to Game Pass day one, which is awesome. That is awesome to see. The game looks very, very stylized. There was a lot of weirdness in terms of, I'm gonna go ahead and play this for you guys. Actually, I'm back up a bit because there was one shot that I want to show. There it is right there. The very stylized picture of a very drippy, phallic-looking object with one giant ball behind it. It's a very interesting look. This man giving the motorboat to this lady. I'm sure she appreciates that in their rotting, stale state that they are in. A lot of personality, a lot of atmosphere for this game. It is obviously a horror game, and this is definitely in-game footage. I think that's what they're showing off, but we can't really be sure if this is how it's actually going to look until we actually see more of a real gameplay segment. And there it kind of lies in the first issue, where you can show these amazing in-game rendered, like, just footage showing off the engine, showing off the assets, and things you're showing off, and kind of the personality of the game. But this doesn't give the player base anything to kind of grow over. This was the first one that I could really say that this is not gameplay. This is just a big cinematic, in-engine, granted, trailer. And it's hard to really get excited for something like this and even remember what this game is called, because I didn't remember what it is. Scorn. It's available for Game Pass, which is awesome. So I'm sure for Microsoft, this is a big get, because, you know, if you have Game Pass, which I have Game Pass, it's just available for you. You can just check it out. But yeah, let's move on to our next game, which is coming up right now, which is Chorus, spelled Chorves, which I like calling it Chorves. We're going to call it Chorves. Deep Silver and Fish Labs Productions. I'm not familiar with Fish Labs. In fact, we're actually going to take a quick second to take a look at what they've done before. So taking a look at Fish Labs and their resume of games, they seem to be very obsessed with space games, so Chorves seems to be right up their alley. A lot of 40XX kind of Civilization style games and some space exploration ship games as well. So this seems to be right up their alley. Definitely has a bit of a personality with this main character. Gives me a very Control vibe, which I'm sure gave everyone. But this footage here of them running around the spaceship, I think this is not necessarily gameplay. This is more of a tech demo / what it could look like or what they want it to look like. But again, this is one of those things where if it's not real gameplay, it's hard to get excited about this kind of thing. More space combat games are always cool. I think we don't have enough of those, especially on the double or AAA side. We have a lot of more of indie presentations like this. So it looks cool. And oh my god, look at all those particles. That's really cool looking. I'm kind of interested in this one. I think this one could be good, depending. But again, it's one of those AA things where we don't have a lot of confidence in the developer. Could be great, could not. Who knows? Just it's gonna come and go if it does. If it's not, it's gonna be, maybe it could be another Hellblade, but maybe not. Who knows? Now, as far as whether or not it's coming to Game Pass, that's the thing I want you to know real quick. Let's see. Chorves is supporting with smart delivery, so it's coming in current gen, and we don't know anything else. It's coming 2021, so not even launch title. Next world premiere, we have Madden 21. Oh boy, who's excited for Madden 21? I really wanted this to be a CG trailer of football players sitting on their couches like this guy, but it wasn't. So sad. We're gonna move on. We don't need to talk about Madden. Oh, actually, no. Sorry. EA did announce that this game was being to be part of Smart Delivery, but there was an asterisk. And it's a big asterisk where it's Smart Delivery up until, I believe, March of 2021, where if you purchase the game, you can access Smart Delivery up till that point. And you can, if you purchase the game before December of 2020, you can access. So purchase the game before December, activate Smart Delivery before 2021 in order to get that free upgrade. A lot of people are freaking out about this. I feel like for Madden, that makes a little bit of sense because they're moving on to the next game, and the current Madden game really gets devalued after the first year. So it's not the biggest deal. I don't think this is EA being like crazy about this, but I see this as more of their contractual obligations, like requiring this kind of thing of really focusing and moving deals away from the old game. And granted, you're going to get backwards compatibility, so is there going to be a big difference between the Xbox One X and the Xbox Series X version? Probably not. So I don't think this is a big thing to freak out about. I would cut EA some slack here, even though they don't really deserve it. But they made Jedi, which is a good game, so maybe. All right, let us move on to our next game. We are talking about Vampire the Masquerade, I believe the Darkness 2? Is that what it's called? Is that the Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Now, this is a game that's been shown off for a long time now. It doesn't look great. The environments look really cool, and the lighting is very interesting. But some of the character models look a little funky. This is a big RPG game, and I know a lot of people who are into that sort of Greedfall-esque kind of gameplay style are really looking forward to this. The personality of this game, very cool. All this seems like there's a lot of gameplay here. There's a lot of in-engine cutscenes is what it seems like. So this doesn't seem like as much of a I forgot the game again. As much of a Scorn kind of issue here. Like here, you're seeing some in-game footage of the actual gameplay. Like this is what it's going to look like. Because if it doesn't look like as good as this, then we've got some serious problems. But there's a lot of personality here. It looks very obviously the character models look a little bit off. It kind of looks like that house party game, whatever that was, where you get to hit on people. Yeah, no, this is gameplay. This is what it looks like. A lot of We Happy Few vibes as well. If you're into this game, you're gonna be really excited for this. But if you're not into this sort of open world action RPG style gameplay, then this is not gonna appeal for you. But I would give this one a pass as far as that gameplay goes. I love this little first person snap it thing. It's really cool. Next game on our list is the one that I am the most excited about, which is called Into the Sea. Is that what it's called? Call of the Sea. Call of the Sea. Which definitely has a lot of Cthulhu, Lovecraftian vibes to it. Oh, sorry. Let me go back a little bit far to it. When I first saw this game, I described it as what a Donkey Kong or Crash Bandicoot game would look like if someone were to like take the originals and put them in like a Unreal Engine 4 gameplay demo, like tech demo, like they do with Ocarina of Time. It gives me a lot of Witness vibes though, where there's not a lot of combat. There's a very ambient story being told through the environments here. It actually feels like gameplay here, where you're actually walking around through these environments. There's going to be a lot of gameplay platforming sections. It feels like the atmosphere of this game looks really, really engaging to me personally. I feel like it's a puzzly kind of game. First person see here, you're looking at some puzzly aspects to it. I'm actually kind of excited for this one. I'm really interested to see what this one is going to look like in actual gameplay footage, like true like HUD gameplay, and see what that kind of thing is. I think it's open world puzzle, but it is coming to Game Pass, which is awesome. Great to hear. So I'm really excited for this one. This one seems to be my biggest plus. The next one we have is this one is called The Ascent, which is a top-down twin stick shooter, possibly Diablo-esque game. And this one kind of stuck out to me a lot because obviously this one was probably the one we saw the most gameplay up. And actually, let's see if I can skip to the gameplay here. This one stood out to me a lot because it seems like it's a lot of humans versus like mutated monster dudes, and the monsters are the protagonists of this game. They're fighting for their freedom. So here you can see this top-down isometric shooter kind of gameplay style, but it also gives me a lot of hints of Diablo, which I think is a very good combination, especially obviously a natural fit for these two gameplay styles. Looks great. That's all gameplay. That is all gameplay. Honestly, this one looks like the best presentation of next gen stuff, because this looks way better than Diablo. There's a ton of great lighting here. You can see all of the. Sorry, let me see if I can back up here. The Ascent. Like you can see around here, all of these, how the lighting bounces off everything from the neon signs and the mist down here in the fog, and as well as the gun effects, the particle effects, the explosions, all this blood splatter here. This game looks very good for what could be a twin stick shooter / Diablo game. Let me see if there's actually a genre lookup on here. The Ascent is a 2.5D shooter. Smart delivery, no Game Pass, published by Curve Digital and developed by Neon Giant. I would actually like to see what Neon Giant is responsible for in the past. Let's go take a look at that. Okay, so just taking a look at Neon Giant, they are a relatively new studio. This is actually, I think, their first project, and for a first project, seems really cool. But therein lies the problem with being their first game and being super unknown studio, is it's hard to have confidence in what this gameplay is, and since we didn't really hear the genre that this is going for, it's hard to tell if this is an RPG like Diablo, if this is just twin stick shooter. I like the personality, I like the graphic style, I like all the effects. It looks really cool. Yeah, I think this one actually worked pretty well. Again, very AA, very unknown, not something that you would pop off from, which I think this conference was very lacking in, but still something that's fun to see. It does give that feel of sort of like a next gen game in a way, as long as it runs at 60 in 4K 60. Because if not, then what are you even doing here? Next game we have is Medium, which is our second big horror game. Medium looks very cool. There was a little bit of gameplay segments here. Let me see if I can actually find those, because those are hard to find. A lot of gothic horror, but at the same time 1920s-esque noir London, maybe the church in New York City kind of status here. Looks very interesting, very horror-esque. But these horror cinematic trailers have a very difficult time trying to stand out amongst the other stuff. It's coming holiday 2020, so that's pretty cool. And let's see, is there there's a little bit of representative of expected gameplay experiences. Getting a lot of Blair Witch Project vibes from here, and there's a little bit of gameplay. It looks very cool, but this isn't actual gameplay. This is like how we think it's going to look, which is questionable because it's coming out in 2020. So if it is coming out in 2020, maybe this is actually really comparable to what the actual final product will look like. So that's kind of cool. There's definitely a very Braid aspect to it, of like that time jumping bits to it. So it's interesting. I think it's coming to Game Pass. Let me confirm that real quick. It is coming to Game Pass, psychological horror. And the team is working with the composer of Silent Hill, which is very exciting because the music will be very good then. And the development team is called Bloober. Oh, who made Blair Witch? Interesting. And Layers of Fear, Observer. Let me quickly pause this game. This game I actually really want to talk about. The Blair Witch team, the Blair Witch game, I didn't love it. It ran pretty poorly, but I think having that next-gen hardware will really help that team. Layers of Fear, these guys know horror. These guys are very good at what they do. I think this is actually something to really be kind of excited for, because coming to Game Pass, coming 2020, so that's kind of like a launch, very short launch window title. Saw a little bit of gameplay, and from what we've seen before from them, we can kind of have a good understanding of what this is going to be. This is going to be, you're fucked. You're going to be running away from some monsters. It's going to be very scary. There's going to be a lot of crazy psychedelic tripping things going on at you, and you are not going to be able to defend yourself in the slightest, which is not the kind of game I like to play. But maybe we'll do it for video because that sounds fun. Next game, we've got the game from Bandai Namco. I'm sure this is the God Eater and Code Vein team. It is a game called Scarlet Nexus, and already looks beautiful, very anime style, very Bandai Namco. This guy looks like he's ripped straight out of Sword Art Online, but I love the enemy design here. All these weird bouquet enemies just looks cool. This looks like, it seems like if I were to guess, a metaphor for marriage for some reason. That's what I'm getting off of this. There's a Valve dude here, which is interesting. Just look at that thing. It's like a bouquet wolf. If you're going to come out with this kind of cool style, that, you know, I'm going to be interested. Weird garden enemies, so interesting. But yeah, obviously the anime style is kind of generic, and it's very reminiscent of some of Bandai Namco's other works. But I think that the gameplay that you're seeing here, let me pull up to it, is very exciting. It's very Platinum-esque, maybe more God Eater and Dark Souls-y, like similar to Code Vein, than more Platinum style. But I'm hoping it is more Platinum style than Dark Souls-y, because that gameplay I think would really fit this. And the characters look cool, the graphically style, the particle effects, everything looks really cool here. This is all gameplay story. This is a cool one. I think like this was definitely a good one for them. And it's Bandai Namco, so you know that this is going to be at least some level of AA to AAA quality. Yeah, I like this one. Scarlet Nexus gets definitely my seal of approval. Good job, guys. Look at this giant flower monster. It's such a cool style. It's nothing I've never really seen before, but it really fits what they're kind of going for. Is that a toilet paper enemy? That's what hang on, let's take a look at this. Is this... No, I don't think it's a roll of toilet paper. It looks like a stepping stone. Never mind. Disappointed. Bad game. Let's not worry about it. Next on the list, we of course have Yakuza Like a Dragon, the turn-based RPG version of the Yakuza series. The one where they said, hey, if you don't like this, we're going to go back to the original style. Don't worry about this. Coming to Xbox One the same day as PS4, as well as coming to Xbox Series X, I think, at launch, which is exciting. I don't think it's shown Game Pass, but... Oh, you know what? We skipped a game. We skipped Second Extinction, which is this dinosaur game made by System Reaction, a subsidiary of Avalanche Studio. Let's take a look at what they've done before. Okay, so Avalanche Studios is the guys in charge of... Just back this up real quick. Avalanche Studios is the guys in charge. They did a little bit of Rage 2. They did a little bit of Just Cause. They're familiar with that open world shooter, kind of very light RPG mechanics kind of gameplay. So this basically looks like dinosaur zombies, which I'm really into. I think that's really cool for multiplayer style. Is this Game Pass though? That is the big question, because if this is Game Pass, that is very, very good for this game. Smart delivery, not Game Pass. Kind of, you know, it's tough to sell your multiplayer game if it's, you're paying $60 for what you don't know exactly what it's going to be as far as the depth of it is. But obviously wait for reviews and see what it's going to be, what it's going to look like on actual launch. But this is actually looks really cool. Very all this is gameplay. This is all gameplay. It looks good. Got a lot of Arc vibes to it, more like a next gen Arc. Yeah, Second Extinction with them. Another good one, honestly. Looks pretty good. Then, of course, Yakuza. We're going to talk about a little bit of Yakuza. Sega, big game. This is a big game for Microsoft. One of their big pushes into the Japanese market to really, honestly, take a second shot at getting the Japanese market after they kind of gave up with it on the Xbox One. it's a good thing that they're doing this. I'm glad that they're actually pushing into the Japanese market, even if the Japanese market themselves isn't really responding well to the Xbox. The American market interested in Japanese games wants these games on Xbox, so that's good for them. And yeah, it's Yakuza. They're getting other Yakuza games on here. It's going to be a fun time. I think this is a big deal for Xbox to have this kind of game on here, as this game is slowly increasing in popularity. And since it's on Game Pass, it is currently exposed to 10 million players who might look at this game and be like, wow, another Yakuza game. That's awesome. Can't wait. And then last but maybe least, we have the Assassin's Creed Valhalla trailer. The first gameplay for Assassin's Creed. Did I tell you there's going to be gameplay? Did I forget to mention there's going to be gameplay? This is not gameplay. This is a in-game cinematic trailer. This was a big disappointment, and I think a lot of people point to this thing as the sort of summary of what to take away from this whole conference. And that's kind of a shame, because there are a lot of cool games to show off here. I don't know what they were thinking with this. Why did they go with this? Why did they emphasize gameplay so much in this and then show this? We want to see the HUD. We want to see this in action, seeing people assassinate, see you go off on a mission, see what this game is actually going to look like. Do that cool 360 spin around the character to show off the world. That's what we wanted from this, and we did not get that. And also, when you tease the whole presentation, it's like, hey, we're going to show off next-gen gameplay and Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and your big game is Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you're kind of letting down expectations. You would just think that this would be the first game they showed, or something in the middle with something bigger at the end, like a brand new reveal, but we never really got that. This was their biggest game, and it let down. The other games looked very good, very interesting. Some of them looked great. Some of them were more CG stuff, which is harder to get excited for. I keep forgetting the name of that one game. What is it called? Frick, what is it called? Scorn. It's called Scorn. I keep forgetting it. That's a really bad sign. And I don't know what they were thinking for this by hyping this up so much. They shouldn't have done this. This was a bad decision. And it leaves a bad taste in people's mouths when you say gameplay, but you don't actually show gameplay. So this was the big letdown of the conference, is the Assassin's Creed trailer. And I've been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey recently, and I'm really excited for Valhalla, but this is just like, why? Why would you do this and not have anything else in terms of the AAA market? Obviously, Yakuza is very cool. The Bandai Namco is here. There's cool stuff here. But to leave off on this, and they knew when they presented this trailer that this wasn't gameplay. I don't know what they were trying to pull. So I guess we're about to wrap up. The overall impressions I got from this conference was they must be super confident in what they're going to be showing in the coming months, because for them to lead off the premiere of next-gen gameplay with this, and for the first game to be this weird mixed mash game shooter thing called Memory, whatever it is called, for them to lead off that's the first Xbox Series X game we're really taking a look at. It just leaves a really weird feeling, and I'm sure that they're going to come out with some big first party titles in July. You're going to get Halo, you're going to get Forza, and you're going to get Hellblade 2, maybe Fable 4. I'm really hoping for Fable 4. But for them to lead off with this, it just seems kind of like a weird step where they had so much good momentum, and then they just crashed it yet again. Where we're always saying this is the year that Xbox is going to turn it around, and it never seems to be that year where they really go all out and really get you excited for it. I think that they set expectations a little too high for this with what they were saying about this, and it's almost like normally when you're teasing presentations like this, you want people to be surprised as to what they're going to see. You want that pop off, oh my god, it's Keanu Reeves moment.
It's Keanu Reeves!
Holy
what?
Shit! I was about to say it's Keanu Reeves.
And for the editors of this whole presentation to look at this, they must have gone, there's no pop-off moment here. There's no moment here that people are going to be throwing on Twitter, being like, oh my god, did you see this? I can't believe this happened. Reaction videos, Keanu Reeves, what? Oh my god, crazy moment. There was nothing here, and they knew that. So to me, it's crazy that they're saying this is the next gen reveal of the third parties and not really set expectations right. Like say, hey, we've got this Inside Xbox presentation. You're going to see the world premiere of Assassin's Creed gameplay and other works from our studios, such as Codebreakers, Vampire the Masquerades, and Sega. Something like that would have really set the expectations right, or even just telling us what games are going to be there, because there must be a marketing financial thing here where they believe that even if the audience is disappointed with what they've seen, it's worth it to show these games to them and get these games in their head, even though they know that they're going to be disappointed by what they're going to see, even though they're expecting the new Batman, Elden Ring, Skate 4 for whatever reason. For me, the Simpsons Hit and Run remake that I've always deserved. You know it, I know it. We need the Simpsons Hit and Run remake. And it just seems like for these kinds of games, you don't need to be very secretive about this. You can be pretty open about what this is going to be. And I feel like they weren't, and it's confusing to me why they weren't. I feel like for them to say, we're going to be showing off some great next-gen games, but this is going to be all AA, would still get people excited about seeing what this is going to be, and to show that Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay trailer, whatever. So, they must be confident in what the next one is. And I don't want to be kind of Stockholm Syndrome-y, like, oh, the next one's going to be great. But I feel like they can't possibly miss this. That's their last chance. July is their last chance to really blow people away and really get people hyped for the next Xbox. I mean, Game Pass is awesome. Smart delivery is a cool concept. The Xbox Series X is going to be the most powerful console. It's exciting to see. But as far as this presentation was, I don't think this is what convinces people to buy an Xbox Series X. Maybe that's not what they were going for. Maybe they just wanted to get these games into people's minds and to show like, hey, this is what you're going to be expecting. If this is what AA is going to look like, what's AAA going to look like? And that's kind of exciting. But yeah, that's kind of it. I don't know if any of that actually made sense or was intelligent or smartly communicated to you guys. But those are just my kind of blurb of thoughts on what we saw here today. I'm excited for July. I'm excited to see what Sony finally reveals. I feel like a lot of people are kind of looking at Sony the wrong way in terms of how little they're giving out. In the reaction videos we did, I explained that the Switch was revealed in a very short window between reveal and launch. It was about 4-month period. And as far as the PS5 goes, they can come out in freaking August and be like, here's PlayStation 5. We've got Horizon Zero Dawn 2. We've got all these games coming. Backwards compatibility for sure. Hey, you know what? We're working on PS1, PS2 backwards compatibility. And here is a sneak peek at God of War 2 and Spider-Man 2. That would be enough to make me go, all right, PS5, I'm in, ready to go. Let's get one. Right now, I feel like so many people are negative on Sony because of the way they did the controller and how silent they've been. But they really don't have to be super talkative right now. If they want to go and have one big blowout where they throw all of their stuff at, it's gonna land. I mean, it's PlayStation. All they have to do is be like, we're PlayStation. We've got the PlayStation 5. It's all about the games. Here are the games that you're going to be excited for. Here's what we have. This, and this. Go buy the PS5. And people are going to be excited for that because that's just what Sony can do. They've shown that that's their strategy of just having games, great first-party titles, great third-party exclusives. Not necessarily exclusives, times exclusives, but good third-party support in general. Xbox is throwing all these great consumer-friendly practices, but it's not enough to really overtake what Sony's been doing. And a lot of people say that Sony's doing some anti-consumer practices, even though they are just doing exactly what we wanted them to do 6 years ago, which was single-player, exclusive games, no DLC, well, not DLC, no microtransaction bullshit, and that's what they've been doing for the past 6 years, and it's worked out so well for them. So I think that Sony could really come in and just be like, PS5, buy it. You're gonna buy it. Just buy it already. What are you waiting for? It's Horizon Zero Dawn, Aloy. We're great. We're Sony. We're gonna nail it. And Xbox really has to play catch up here. And Xbox is doing a good job, except for this moment. This was kind of a slip. So yeah, that's a lot of word salad. But yeah, I guess we'll be doing one of these kind of things for every presentation we see. Hopefully we see a lot of these. I'll try to make this a little bit shorter next time, now that I've kind of wrapped my head around what this kind of thing is going to be. But yeah, overall, I think the presentation kind of gets a C+ from me as far as the rating goes, I think that there definitely could have been a bit more exciting things to show as far as third-party support. I think they could have shown, if they had something from Cyberpunk, and then maybe what's something that would be very safe? Dying Light 2. Let's say Dying Light 2, a little bit of Cyberpunk, and a little bit more from Assassin's Creed. I think this would have been a great presentation that really met expectations. Obviously, we could have seen something really cool. We could have seen Elden Ring. We could have seen the new Batman game. Simpsons Hit and Run remake, baby. Come on, let's see it. But we didn't get that. And that's kind of disappointing. It leaves kind of a bad taste for the audience. And I don't fault the audience for kind of reacting negatively to this. But I think I see a lot of people who are like, well, they're going to show the first parties later, so I guess this is just kind of a dud. But it's just weird how they presented this. I feel like they made a mistake in terms of how they marketed it. Definitely not false advertising, as some people are claiming, but because there was definitely a lot of gameplay here, it's just kind of hidden amongst a lot of weird stuff, weird horror games. So yeah, I'm really excited for Call of the Sea. I can't believe I can't remember the title of it, but it is Game Pass day one. Awesome. Looking forward to it. Obviously, I'm looking forward to Valhalla. I'm really excited for that Viking gameplay. And yeah, that's it. I'm Banner Sen. This has been our Xbox Series X Inside Xbox for May 2020 presentation. And we'll see you for the next one. Like I said, a lot of word salad. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.